Hello and welcome everyone, my name is Meepolis and this is Literally Graphic. And today we are talking about G. Willow Wilson's run on Miss Marvel, because I've talked about the early volumes a few times before, but that's all private now. Then I picked up the first volume by Saladin Ahmed and decided to revisit and finally finish. Created by Sana Amanat, Miss Marvel was relaunched with Kamala Khan all the way back in 2014. It's hard to recreate exactly what this felt like at the time, but it's not that different from how things are now. Just even newer and fresher. Written by G. Willow Wilson, a white American adult convert to Islam who spent a lot of time in Egypt. The writing in Miss Marvel stood out in a lot of ways, many of them reminiscent of comics gone by, before grimdark adult titles took over. The prolific Joe Caramagna did lettering throughout, accompanied by Ian Herring on colors. While the artist did change a number of times throughout, I feel like it's still pretty fair to say that Adrian Alfona set the tone, although consistent coloring also helps. Alfona is Canadian and helped co-create The Runaways with Brian K. Vaughan. Other artists include Mirka Adolfo of Bombshell fame, Jake Wyatt, Elmo Bondoc, Takashi Miyazawa, Francesco Gaston, Diego Lurtigoi, Marco Fela, and a very strong finish from Nico Leon. I personally really enjoyed the very cartoony, matte feeling of the series, and as I always say, I appreciate the way that a female identified character was not sexualized against her will and or without consent. Always good. As far as plots go, much like the art, I found them to be pretty lively, taking on some very grown-up problems like gentrification and the prison industrial complex, with a nice dash of silliness that feels very creative. I didn't always personally ID with all the politics and would generally describe this as anti-capitalist, but ultimately still pretty liberal. There's a whole issue that centers around the power and joys of voting, after all. But the awareness did feel ahead of the curve of general discourse, for which I do think it deserves props. Plus, there's much less Iron Man as pro-existence of genius propaganda, as seen in the volume by Saladin, and much more goofy Wolverine. It also didn't feel as self-conscious and for the girls TM as, say, Batgirl of Burnside did subsequently. Link in the cards to that review. Jeez. Their queer content is comparatively about the same, with the dash in the background. As a practicing Muslim superhero surrounded by a fully alive practicing Muslim family, religion was also pretty central to the series, but not in a preachy way. You could probably get through the entire series without learning anything, but it's there and the characters take it seriously. That said, certain arcs at least felt a little bit dialogue heavy. Disability and ability were also touched on when Bruno tries to break someone out of prison and gets injured in the process. I'm certainly not the arbiter of what is good or bad disability representation, but instead of being all bad, it appears to my untrained ear to be only some bad with a dash of good. Particularly the parts where Bruno is talking to an AI hologram of Xavier. Bruno's time in Wakanda is pretty interesting, although I'm still not sure why he was allowed back in the States. Overall, I rated the first volume 5 out of 5 stars, with subsequent volumes being 3 or 4 out of 5 stars. So pretty highly, I suppose. Bye all, keep reading and resist white supremacy. And as always, Literally Graphic is recorded on the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and Anishinaabe people, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Huron-Wendat Nation. I live here because of British colonization, Indigenous genocide, and more geographically specific, Treaty 13. also known as the Toronto Purchase, which was finalized in 1805 between representatives of the Crown and certain Mississauga peoples. This treaty was a lie and has since been broken many times over. Saying so reflects only my own small steps towards knowing the truth and does nothing for reconciliation.